Some cars are born to last decades, going through multiple redesigns and generations. Others, however, shine brightly for a brief moment before disappearing forever. These single-generation cars are special because they capture a unique vision, a bold experiment, or even a mistake that somehow made history. They often carry more charm and character than long-running models, precisely because they never got a chance to evolve. In this list, we'll look at 7 fascinating cars that lived only once but left an unforgettable mark. 1. Nissan POW. The Nissan POW slipped into the world like a comet, short, dazzling, and unforgettable. A retro-styled city car born from Nissan's Pike factory experiments, it looked like something out of a whimsical storybook. Its charm wasn't just about design, it was about the feeling it gave people. Warm nostalgia mixed with quirky creativity. Imagine walking into a showroom and seeing something that looked like a classic car in miniature, but new and functional. That's why collectors still treasure it today. If you could drive one, you'd likely imagine yourself in a retro movie scene, turning heads on every corner. The POW existed only once because it was never meant to be mass market. It was a love letter to individuality. Owners tell stories of its characterful ride and unique design choices, while enthusiasts trade rare parts and celebrate its playful personality. A single chance, one generation, and a lasting impact. 2. Lancia Delta S4. One of the most electrifying rally-bred machines ever built, the Lancia Delta S4 was born for Group B racing and lived fast, then vanished when regulations ended its time. This car was extreme. Turbocharged and supercharged together, barely legal for the street, and capable of astonishing performance. It was a car that demanded respect, thrilling but dangerous. Imagine yourself behind the wheel, waiting for the turbo surge to kick in, knowing you're driving something that was made for the dirt, not the highway. It's exactly that intensity that makes the S4 legendary. Cars like this couldn't last long because they were too wild for normal life, but that's also why they've become mythic. Enthusiasts gather to whisper about them at rallies, swapping technical stories and dreaming of what it must have been like to tame such raw power, even for a moment. 3. BMW Z8. The BMW Z8 was elegance in motion, a modern reinterpretation of the classic 507, and a car that felt like a sculpture more than just transportation. Built in limited numbers, it existed for only a few years and then bowed out gracefully, leaving a halo of desire behind it. Imagine driving one along a coastal road at sunset, the engine humming like a symphony, while passers-by stop just to admire its curves. The Z8 was never about practicality, it was about making a statement. Owners fell in love with its details, from the craftsmanship to the way it felt to simply sit inside. Cars like this are rare because they're indulgent projects, not long-term investments for the brand. And that's why the Z8 is remembered not just as a BMW, but as a cultural artifact that proves cars can also be art. 4. Chevrolet SSR. The Chevrolet SSR was bold, strange, and unforgettable. A convertible pickup truck that looked like it rolled straight out of a concept car dream. With hot rod-inspired styling and a retractable hardtop, it was as impractical as it was fun. You couldn't ignore it whether you loved it or hated it. Picture yourself at a car meet. An SSR drives in and instantly conversations start. Some laugh, some admire, but everyone pays attention. That's the power of a one-generation experiment. It didn't succeed commercially, but it showed what happens when designers are allowed to dream. Owners still cherish the SSR for its bravery and eccentricity, celebrating a car that was never afraid to be different. Its short life makes it even more special, a brief flash of creativity that reminds us not everything in the automotive world needs to play it safe.
5. Toyota Sera.
The Toyota Sera is one of those delightful surprises that feels almost unreal. A small coupe with butterfly doors and playful personality. It looked like something from an anime, and to drive one was to live in a futuristic fantasy. Produced only for the Japanese market, it gained cult status far beyond its home country. Imagine opening those upward swinging doors in a crowded street. The smiles, the stares, the sheer fun of it. Cars like the Sera exist once because they are experiments in joy, not practicality. Enthusiasts adore it for being unashamedly different, and owners share stories of how it turns the most ordinary commute into something memorable. It is proof that sometimes a car doesn't need to be powerful or expensive to be unforgettable. Just one generation and it won hearts worldwide. 6. DeLorean DMC-12. The DeLorean DMC-12 is perhaps the most famous single-generation car in history, thanks to its stainless steel body, gull-wing doors, and cinematic fame. Even without the time machine connection, it was a strikingly ambitious project. Imagine the sight of those iconic doors lifting in a parking lot. Heads turn instantly. The DMC-12 represents ambition, controversy, and dreams that burn too brightly. It didn't succeed commercially, but it didn't need to. Its story, full of drama and boldness, ensured its place in history. Owners treat them like artifacts, preserving every detail, while fans flock to see them in shows and museums. Sometimes, a car doesn't need multiple generations to be eternal. The DeLorean proved that one shot, one daring vision, can echo forever. 7. Saab 9-2X. The Saab 9-2X is a curious case. A small, rally-inspired car that existed only briefly, the result of collaboration and compromise during a transitional era. It was essentially a Subaru WRX with Saab styling, and while it confused some buyers, it earned a small but devoted following. Imagine spotting one at a meet today. Rare, unexpected, and instantly a conversation starter. Cars like the 9-2X disappear quickly because they're products of corporate strategy more than long-term vision, but that doesn't make them forgettable. In fact, it's their rarity and oddness that make them charming. Owners treasure them for what they are. A unique chapter in Saab's story, a car that never had a sequel but still managed to build a loyal fanbase. And that's for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Got thoughts, questions, or video ideas? Drop them down in the comments. I read every single one,